Hey guys, Anthony 4B4 Diesel here. We are again, 20,000 kilometre service. It's July 2022. The first 10,000 Ks, North Queensland. The second 10,000 up as far as Darwin in the Northern Territory. And we're going to go through that 20,000 kilometre service for you. The checks that get done, some of the damage that may have happened that we're going to check for. We're also going to include a report on those BFG KO2s at 20,000 Ks that still look like new. All right, guys and girls, here we are, 20,000 K service video as promised. Mate, this is child's play. Anyone can do a 20,000 K service. Are you going to help us out with this 20,000 K service, Mitch? Yep. We can't say you're doing it because you're not qualified, right? But what are we going to do? What do we need to do next? We've got that plastic. Yeah, take the oil cap off. It might be a bit tight for you. Let's see how you go. There you go. Just nicely. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
I didn't
Careful.
have to try.
All right, put that on the bench. All right. That's it. And then what we're going to do, because what we're anywhere, just put it anywhere there. That's all right. Right now, because we're doing an oil change, what do we do so that, because we don't want to forget we've drained the oil, so we take the cap off for two reasons. A, it's to remind us we've got to refill the engine with oil, and so when the oil comes out the bottom, the air can go in the top, so it flows better instead of going something like, doesn't happen always, but glug, 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 and it jumps back and forward. It's nice, smooth flowing, right? Now, the other thing we do, we pull, see the yellow dipstick there? Just gently, not pull it all the way up, but lift it up a little bit. So give it a bit of a pull. Pull it up about a bit more. That'll do, just leave it there like that. So then we know where it is, and we don't forget to put oil in because we've got the cap off, the dipstick out, the cover's not on, we can't forget it, right? Now, what we're gonna do is, we're not gonna do a big inspection under the bonnet. You can see our video, the 10,000 K service. This vehicle still like new, it's only 20,000 Ks, it's not even 6 months old type thing, you know, there's nothing to see here. So we're gonna get underneath, have a bit of a look around because it has been on a couple of trips, North Queensland for the first 10,000 Ks and then up to Northern Territory for the second 10,000 Ks, roughly ballpark numbers. We're gonna get underneath, have a look around, and we're gonna do an oil and filter change. That's it, mate. Keep pumping it, raise it up there. When it's up in the air, we'll drop the oil out. Right, so this bash plate here, it's come off another vehicle. We took it off to protect the original one. But you know, it's definitely been scraping on a few things. This is why it's handy to have kaon.com.au. So anyway, we've decided for an oil change, rather than taking this cover off, this time we're gonna take the 4 bolts out. He's already taken this one out. He's working on this one, and then we're gonna get these ones off, and we're gonna give that a bit of a straighten out and just have a bit of an inspection of the vehicle, to have a bit of a look around. And I can tell you, we're not going to spend too long. Look at the protection those Kaon shock guards are giving to those rear shockers. Look at the blasting, and this hasn't even done that much dirt roads. I mean, it's done a bit, but not much compared to, you know, it's only done 20,000 Ks, but they were brand new, so you can see what it's done. You can see where, you know, where the rocks do sort of spray up there. You can see the BFG KO2s at 20,000 Ks. They still look, I'm sure they're not new, but pretty close to new condition. All these people that go, they're stuffed at 30,000 Ks dreaming anyway. So it's all, this still needs a clean. This has not had a full clean since the trip. This has had a quick wash. Mainly a bit of a spray in the back here. You can see it still needs a bit more. So it's going to get a really good clean up yet. Hasn't happened, but we thought we'd get it in and get the service done right on 20,000. So that's where it was at. We couldn't do anything more and drive it around and clean it. We're here inspecting. We're going to get, there's the oil filter again. All this will be out of the way, just to give us a bit more inspection space down under and around this area. Okay, here we are draining the oil. Have a look at it. Beautiful. And see that sump plug washer? Beware, note that they do stick to the sump plug washers. They stick to the sump on most of the Toyotas. So you just get your little flat blade and give that a gentle tap and that'll pop off. And we'll have a nice new one over here for the sump plug. Everybody watching, can you put that sump plug washer on the sump plug? That nice new washer. Thank you. And what size was the sump plug?
14.
14 mil, that's right, correct. Is that all going? It's nearly there, but you know what? We're gonna leave it for ages and give it a really good drain. So we're gonna come back later. Okay, so we're gonna do a bit of an inspection. We're not gonna spend too long because it's only done 20,000 Ks. As I said, these bash plates came off another vehicle, so disregard that. The KO2 tyres, really good condition, 20,000 Ks, I can't see any wear on those. There's got to be at least half a mil, I guess, but all the people that say, oh, they're gone at 30,000 Ks, dreaming, right? Disregard that, because you can see here, I can tell you looking at them. We'll do some measurements in another video later. We won't waste too much time on it. Checking the suspension looks good. All leaks and deterioration at all your drive shafts, shockers, axles, you know, link pins, ball joints. Everything looks normal here. There's no oil leaks other than the oil leak we've created. All your bushes and everything look good. The vehicle's way too new to need to worry about any of that sort of stuff. So you're basically looking for, if any, and as I say, it has not been cleaned underneath here properly yet. It's just had a quick cleanup, and we're just doing a quick inspection. And literally, you know, we can go by the book, but it's our usual sort of inspection, what we do on these vehicles, specialising in Prados, right? You can see there's no leaks. Looking for axle seals, looking at brake pads there like new, still highway kilometres. Yeah, I always go, is that remote reservoir going to hit on that core spring up there? So we could probably have a closer look at that to see if it is, or if it has. Let's try and see if we can get up in there. Doesn't look like it, does it, right? That's very close, but you know, that's where I've gone, well, I used to leave more clearance there. Same with this one. I used to leave more clearance, but I went, if you look at the way things compress up and down, it's not actually getting any closer. And I thought, worst case scenario, it touches, it's not going to cause any issues. But so we've gone as close as possible so that we can get a balance and have the reservoir still in the bracket anyway. So, and I'm not in any way recommending remote reservoirs. And if you do have them, you need to check the hoses, the seals, check for leaks. It's more likely you're going to have a leak there. Is that oil even sitting on top of that sway bar there coming from that reservoir? Possible, or is it just clean? I don't know. Well, that could be another video or later. It certainly doesn't look wet. I can't see any oil anywhere, but it just looks suspect. And the other thing you got to check is on the adjustment, the little hex key, little screws don't come loose. You also got to check your brackets, because the whole canister shaking around, the brackets can break, all sorts of things. The more mechanicals you add to a vehicle, the more it can be unreliable. So we're testing it out, but you just be very careful with that. Everything looks really clean still. I can't see any abnormal leaks or deterioration. We're going to, of course, lube the drive shafts and that. I note that on our services on the 2019, the dealer wasn't lubricating the drive shafts, or certainly there was no evidence of that. But then you could almost say that here. I mean, you know, we've got a bit of grease coming out. This looks pretty dry as well. Certainly needs some lubrication. We're not over lubing it, but we know we've lubricated it. But it's certainly about to get some more. So maybe they were lubricating it, but they weren't overdoing it, you know, because we certainly haven't made a lot of mess here. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. So this oil, just about, you know, we'll give it a bit longer. We'll give it a heap of time. I've got to be honest, there's more oil in the engine. You can let all those drips come out for as long as you like, but there's still a lot more oil in the engine that's not going to come out. So it doesn't make a big difference. Same thing over this side, everything's in good condition. So 20,000 K service on this. Part of the service is, we do have to change this rear fuel filter, so I'll just point that out quickly. That's about to get changed also. So we'll get on with it. We'll change the filter. We'll get this oil filter replaced. We'll get the sump plug back in and fill it up with oil, and happy days. So the oil's finished draining, plugs in, torqued up to 34, 35 Newton meters. Beautiful, thereabouts is perfect. Now this is how we do the oil filter, right? It's a bit of a bad spot, and it can drip all over the chassis, and you can spend time cleaning it, but if we can, so we use a piece of cardboard, get a fresh one each time. If you're doing a lot of them, you can keep your bit of cardboard for the day or the week, but I just get a fresh piece of cardboard each time, and you can see how we've folded it and tucked it up underneath so it catches everything. I'm not going to video this because I need to do it, and of course it's going to come and drip down, straight down, bang, into our drain tray. Perfect. There it is. I've loosened it off. You can see it runs down. And you know, there's the drip coming off the end straight into the drain tray. Beautiful. Yeah, it's a pretty crap design, to be quite honest, but you know, every engine seems to have a lot of positives, and there's at least one negative, whether it's a bad spot for the oil drain plug or oil filter or fuel. There's always something that's hard to get to, you know. Anyway, we'll let that drain for a little bit, and then we'll spin it the rest of the way and get it off. So for this highly strung 2755cc with 150 kilowatts of power and 500 Newton meters of torque, this is the oil they recommend at Toyota Parts. So that's what we use to maintain our warranty. Of course, we use genuine parts. There's the genuine fuel filter that gets changed as part of the service. There's the oil filter from Genuine Parts. We've also got, above and beyond, we've got a cabin filter there The number's 87139 for your rip-off cabin filter, and 17801 11130 for your rip-off air filter. You may want to consider some cleanable type filters, because these filters are very expensive. This rear fuel filter assembly, about $100 worth, okay, a little bit over. All right, here we are, that fuel filter up underneath, all been changed. We clean and blow and clean all the lines before we remove it to prevent any contamination, although this is just a pre-filter between the tanks. It's very important that debris don't get in there, because that's what blocks up your venturi in your fuel transfer system and causes the problem. It's not the pump. In my opinion, you don't need to change the pump every 150k, but you know, you can follow Toyota or my advice, whichever one you like. We've lubed the drive shaft. It still needs a bit of a cleanup. And of course, as we said, the oil is done and the new filter, there it is, and it's all nice and clean. You could have a good look around up there. You won't find any oil dripping off that oil filter, and it's going to get a degrease and a wash once the job's done also. Anyway, there it is, service complete. Pretty straightforward, and you've got a vehicle that's like new still. You can look up our 10,000 kilometre service on the Prado as well if you like. Probably goes into a bit more detail, but you just go through and check off everything in the list. We've replaced the engine oil and filters, the main things, and replacing those items, that oil change, that preventive maintenance. They're replacing the fuel transfer system filter, lubricating. We've rotated the wheels and tires, and obviously everything out on the list is checked out, and we use that. Technicians are meant to tear it off at this point here and use this as their checklist to that's what gets completed on the service. In this case, I'm the technician and I'm the book, so I'm just going to leave it there anyway, which a lot of people like that as well. So if you want that with your book, just let us know. But there is another section in the book that shows you all the things that get done at each service, so you don't actually need this to know what's been done, other than you should be able to assume that if it's there, it's been done. Obviously, from experience, sometimes there's things here that don't need to be done, and there's some other things that do need to be done, because these books were often made before the vehicles were on the road. And of course, things change, things are different. You know, they just print out a lot of the standard stuff. Inspect steering wheel. Inspect steering wheel? Really? I mean, you know, inspect steering wheel for what? You know, how about some more detail? Inspect steering wheel. Come on, really? And I could go on, okay? Like inspect accessory items. What are you meant to assume that is? What accessory item? Anyway, whatever. If there's something not working, you're going to know about it anyway. That's a 20,000k service. Hopefully that's helped you a little bit. It's up to you whether you want to go for the cap price servicing or not let anyone touch it and do it yourself. But you may need to be qualified. You may need to check what the deal is, but you certainly don't need to take it to a Toyota dealer. So if you know someone that's qualified, bada bing, bada boom, you might want to go for the Toyota service guaranteed pricing. I'm going to scan that. All right, thanks for watching. See you, subscribe, turn the bell on, hit the like button if you learned something, and catch you on the next one. Yeah, this thing doesn't work very well. That'll be in another video. Keep watching. See ya.